So it's interesting you brought that up, because when I do that, when they read that intro, I got to make sure that I tell them to make sure you don't skip over the part that I crashed the business to the ground. And here's what happens every single time when I speak from stages is once they read that bio and I give my bio that I just gave you, at the end, when we do Q&A, everybody wants to know, why was I sitting in a jail cell at 19 looking at 8 to 10? And what business did I crash to the ground, right? Because that's what connects with people. That's what people, they want the real, right? They want to know that once you share, here's the deal, man. If you look here, it's your vulnerability becomes your credibility. And I'm a big fan of that. So when we connected, I was excited to have you on because I want the real. I want the people that have been there, done it, fell down, got back up, wiped themselves off, and kept moving forward. Yeah. And that's what people want to know. That's what people want to hear. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Another Brand Builder TV episode. I'm pumped for this episode because I don't know this man's complete history, but going from my intuition, my gut feeling, which never steers me wrong, I believe that we have a lot more in common. We just happen to be raised and brought up in different parts of the world. So I'm excited to have my man Frank Duran on. He's the founder of Third Strike Athletics, correct? Did I say that right? Third Strike Athletics. Frank, just give us that 30,000-foot view, man, who you are, where you came from, and where you see yourself going, and we're going to chop that down.
Well, like you said, my name is Frank Duran. I come from a very small town out here in San Diego County in Fallbrook, California.
Fallbrook?
Yep.
That's where I live.
Right now, currently?
I've been here since 2012, man. I'm right off of Green Canyon Road, my brother.
Oh, man, I didn't get no email on that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a request to live there. It's, I still got ties down there. So, but yeah, that's where I grew up, man, my whole life. I think we moved there when I was in about second grade and did the whole gang thing, whatever. Did some prison time, obviously. Did about 9 years, when I was younger, and got out and just started moving forward. I think I did one violation in between. And that was about it, man. And I was in construction. I did that because that was an obvious way to go. I needed money. I needed a lot of money fast. And that's the way to go for most of us, So started, I think I had gotten laid off and I decided to try the personal training thing. We used to get 2 vacation checks every two a year. One in, I believe, July and one in December. So my last vacation check I received, I took that and I went to go get my certification and become a personal trainer.
Vacation check? Oh, from your work?
Yeah, from the union. I was in the union.
Oh, okay.
So they would give us two checks a year. That was use one for summer. It was perfect, right? Because you just get money on the word, summer, and one for Christmas. So got my check and I just threw that into my kind of like my dream, I just wanted to be in the fitness industry. I didn't know what the hell. Like, I remember I did an interview at what are those places called? Not a vitamin shop, but those.
Nutrition store.
Right. I forgot what it was, but it was one of those bodybuilding type. That's what I wanted. I was gonna leave a $30-$40 an hour job to do that for a living. Chances are they probably would have offered me $10 an hour. I didn't even think about that shit. I was like, dude, I just got to get in this industry somehow.
Man.
And obviously, and at the time I was about 375 pounds. So let's not even look at that, right?
Yeah.
So number one, no one's going to listen to a 400-pound guy. And, but I didn't see that, right? I just wanted to be in the industry. Obviously didn't get the job, stayed in construction, and got laid off. Moving forward, I ended up getting myself a personal trainer. I worked with a guy out here in Temecula. His name was Dave Trujillo. And he trained me, and that just fucking catapulted me forward. And you know, boom, I started working at Gold's Gym for about 3 years. And I've been an independent trainer now for another 6 years, roughly 6 or 5. I don't even know. I'm not good with time. And that's it, really, like in a nutshell.
Let me share with you how much we have in common, my brother. So once they kicked me out of high school, right? I was in the Ironworkers Union in Philly. I was in the Laborers Union. It's my dog. Out. I was in the Laborers Union in Philly. When I came over here, I got my personal training certification back east. My buddy had a gym. And before I moved out here in 2008 from Jersey, Philly area, I got my personal training certification, did that on the side for some extra cash, okay? And then, and let me go back a little bit. After they kicked me out of high school, I had the same thing. I needed to make cash. So I did framing, roofing, brickwork, blockwork, masonry, the 2 unions, right? That because I needed to live. I needed to eat. And then when I came out here, I didn't know what business I was going to do. I wound up buying a struggling sports nutrition store in Vista called Nutrition Zone. Had that from 2008 to 2012, and then flipped it and sold it. So I'm telling you, man, my intuition was right. We have a lot more in common than we realized in the beginning. But let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So let's go back a little bit, Frank. How old were you when you went in?
I had just turned 19.
Okay. Again, a lot in common, my man. And a lot of people, for me, what people always ask, why were you sitting in a jail cell at 19 looking at 8 to 10? I was down the Jersey Shore with my buddies and got in a altercation with a bunch of guys. They got the worst end of the deal, and he wound up to be an off-duty cop in that town. And the reason that I didn't do went from aggravated assault on a police officer down to simple assault, it's simply because they approached us. They started the altercation. That's the only reason, man, that my life didn't go here instead of there. So 9 years. When you got out, what'd you learn? I mean, what are some of the lessons, man, learned from that, from people that have kids that are watching this, right? That might be going down that road.
Well, here's the thing is, I think, when you're in there, you know, you really don't have any means to kind of help yourself change. You have to kind of do it yourself. You know, back in the days, they had a lot of programs and things that could help individuals to, you know, change their lives and shit, but not no more. You know, you're just sitting there waiting to go home. So it's got to really come from you. And that's kind of what I started doing was, you know, my first 4 years, I obviously ran them up, did the drugs, did the drinking. I was having fun. Fuck, I was a kid, man. It's kind of where I wanted to be anyway. So, you know, first 4 years, I just did what everyone else did. And it was cool. You know, once you get past, you know, missing your family and all the other shit, you just do your time and fucking chill out. And it wasn't that bad. You know, obviously, you know, there's a lot of bad times, you know, missing my mom, crying, you know, that's, you know, separately. But once you just put your head down and start doing your time, you just do it. But one of the things that I did was my last 4 years, I said, you know what, fuck this. I have to stop everything. So I said, I ain't gonna do no more drugs. I ain't gonna do this or that. I'm just gonna keep working out. I found working out in prison and kind of made it. What I would do is I would interview people. Every person and dude, in prison, war stories, that's all anybody wants to do. You can say, hey, what'd you get into? You'll hear the whole life story. You know, so I would do that and I would kind of like learn from their experiences what I need to stay away from when I get out. So any motherfucker I talk to, I would just be like, oh, okay, let's not do that. Let's not do that. And I kind of built up a mental you know, checklist of what I need to do when I get out so I don't fucking go back, because I had no idea what the fuck I was going to do when I got out. But I mean, I'm a kid. I had no fucking clue what the world was. Zero, you know, zero knowledge. So I felt like having all those people to tell me what brought them back to, because that's the first question I'd ask them. Hey, what do you think brought you back? And I seen fools that were out for 10 years, 20 years, and they came back with life. Those are the guys I really wanted to know. It's like, dude, what the fuck, what brought you back? You know, like what? You're out 10 years and you came back. And that's kind of what helped me. So I made sure, another thing I did was I didn't get nobody's contact information. No friends, no nothing. And I got one guy's information, and he's still a friend of mine today. And that's another thing. I didn't want to know anyone. I didn't want to connect with anyone, you know, because, you know, in there you got guns, drugs, like whatever you need. You know, I met someone like you. Well, fuck, what's the price of drugs out there, right? Well, what can you get me a gun for? It's going to be a little bit cheaper, or I can get a little bit cheaper. And you just pull yourself back into that
toxic environment, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And another thing that I did that I wish I hadn't done today, I wish I still had them, but I had a photo album, all my prison pictures, and just, I threw that away because I wanted to, I wanted to forget that.
Yep.
And it's like now, right, I fucking wish I had that, because, you know, it's just good for content, right?
It is, but just by you sharing it, you bring us right in there, right? So one of the questions, I have a few questions for you. One of the questions is, when you were interviewing those guys, especially the guys that are doing real state time now, right? Whatever, 25 to life, let's just say, right? Was there a common denominator that you found that brought them back?
You know what, man? It was so many different things, right? It was a lot of them, you know, once their, you know, girlfriend left them, they start doing drugs again, or they meet a new girl and then they start doing drugs with, you know, and it's like most of it, a lot of it was, you know, relationships, bad social circle. You know, it's like not having, you don't know, if you don't know anyone that's doing good, like how are you gonna even fucking like know what you're missing out on?
But let's go back, man, because to me, for my definition, what I'm defining that as a victim mentality, right? So in other words, I had a bad relationship, so now I'm back. Now that brought me into drugs, and let me prove that what I'm saying is right.
Right.
You had to figure out who you were, what you wanted, what you didn't want, what your non-negotiables were, and at a certain point in your life, you realize that one of your non-negotiables was no drugs and no interaction with that toxic environment. So now you went from the victim mentality, which victims never win, to trying to figure out, right, how to move forward. And then what happened was, and I want to set this stage for, because this is all about the entrepreneurial DNA. You see, you found your entrepreneurial DNA, whether you realize it or not. You know what you did? You built your level of awareness, wanted to figure out who you were, where you wanted to go, and then you started to bring in mentors. That's exactly what they were. Those people that you interviewed were mentors because you learned from them.
Right.
You learned from who. That's a mentor, right? That's what an entrepreneur does. You did it intuitively, whether you realize it or not. And that's what I want to highlight for people, right? Is victims never win. When you can get out of that victim mentality and figure out how to move forward, right? You're not going to know everything. But as you keep moving forward, it starts to unfold and it gets clearer and clearer. And you realize that not only do you want to get off drugs, not only do you want to get out of this toxic environment, not only do you want to start a clean slate, but you realize that working out was a therapy.
Right.
So that's kind of my take on that.
And it's, now that you say that, it's true, because one of the, I have a really good friend of mine, and, watching him, I knew right away, like, dude, that's whatever he's doing. Like, I need to do the same fucking thing.
Okay.
And then, it was a good, it was a good way to go. And I always tell him, this, because of him, I didn't know anyone like that. I fucking came out and everyone had all their cars and their houses, and I didn't have shit, and I seen this individual, and I was like, man, I need to make my life kind of like his, and he has no social media, he has no fucking nothing, but he's probably impacted more people than a lot of these influencers would fucking really motivate. And, so I think that's kind of crazy.
So when did you connect with this guy?
Oh, right when I got out, like,
okay,
fucking maybe a week or 2 weeks after something.
Did you know him when you were in?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I knew him. He was a friend. He's from my same neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So and,
that helped you move forward and figure out that path.
Right. And I think, and saying, now my cat's getting into stuff.
That's all right.
Babe. I think we're stupid cat. Where were we?
So we were talking about your contact, man. When you got out, that mentor kind of helped you pave the way.
I think it's just crazy, man, because sometimes I think it's luck, and because when we get out, we don't know which way we're gonna go. I mean, even you always do things you shouldn't do, just happen to get away with it, even when you are doing good. So I think how many people do you know that were doing good and they just got caught up in the wrong time, wrong place, and now they're never coming home. So it's like I'm really glad that my luck kind of went that way towards getting and connect with this dude again, and just seeing that, because had I not, I mean, when I paroled, everything was not what it was when I left. The structure that I thought I had, it wasn't there, and it would have just easily I would have went back right away. I wanted to go back right away, and that's just a whole nother story, but you see those movies where they break the glass and wait for the cops to come pick them up, and that's kind of where I was at that time, for not very long, but a good couple months. Like, that's really what I wanted.
Because, and let's also define that, because there might be people that me and you were talking about this world, and it's so out of their world, right? So so we're gonna have people like that. So let's really define it for a lot of people, because there might be some people going, how could you think that? It's because we're human beings, right? And here's what happens when we're in the unknown, right? We tend to want to go back to the known. That's that safety. And I'm a big believer in this, man. I believe that life comes down to this. The darkness is only temporary as long as you keep moving forward. The only time it becomes permanent is when you go back into safety. We're supposed to move forward, grow, and expand, but it's also a natural instinct to want to go back into that safety. And for you, in that time in your life, that was the safety. So I want people to get a really good understanding of that. That's just the truth.
And
right?
and the thing is too, man, and I've said this many times, is okay, when you take away the fights and the stabbings and the riots and all the stuff that we hear about in prison, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of dudes just trying to go home. It's a bunch of dudes sitting down, playing cards, playing dominoes, drinking coffee, connecting. I know about your life, everything about these people's lives, everything
becomes a brotherhood.
Yeah. And so I've said it was just like the military. Yeah. And how, when people who get out of the military, they commit suicide. And I say they're kind of like the same thing. I'm not saying I'm suicidal, but when you can connect with people like that and you come out here, imagine people who come out with nobody. They can't connect with no one. They can't talk to no one. They can't, You're not going to get that kind of connection out here. You're not, unless you have a big family or, you know, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to connect with people like that. So then when you come home, you're alone. You know, that's why I do try to reach out to, you know, ex-military, and, you know, because people are here and they don't have family, their family's far away, they don't have nothing, you know, dude, come to the gym, let's get a good fucking workout.
Yeah.
You know, because that's that interaction that they need.
Yes.
And had it not been, I know for me, I do kind of need something that's where I'm social, because it just, I like that. It's what, you know, you can probably put it together better than I could, but I like that, you know, that interaction. And for me, that kind of helps me to keep what I had there to bring it out here. You know what I'm saying?
Feeds you. It feeds you. And the same with me, right? It feeds you. It's that that mental stimulation, right? And then when you throw in the physical stimulation of working out, pushing your body, the adrenal glands, right? Everything, exact same thing, man. If I would tell people, man, I started wrestling in the 4th grade. Honestly, man, if it wasn't for sports, the only reason that I enjoyed school was the interaction with my crew and sports. That was my outlet, right? But I hated being stuck in a classroom. There was no purpose for me, and that's why I was always getting in trouble and, you know, things like that. So I get that, and again, what that maps back to is understanding who you are, right? Level of awareness, what works for you. Let me close that door, Frank. And that's key components, man, for a successful entrepreneur. Understanding who you are, reverse engineering that for the success. So let's move ahead a little bit. Now you're out. How long before you got your personal training cert and you started to move down that direction?
I'm so bad with time. I'm so
a few years.
Dates and shit. I'd say at least 4.
Okay. All right. 2 years.
96 from, what are we in? I don't even know the date.
2020. Yeah.
Pro 1996. Oh no, 2004. 96. Busted in 96. I paroled in 2004. So
okay.
I say about 4 years.
Yeah. So
maybe more.
Yeah. 2008, something like that. Yeah. Because that's so. You knew that you needed to be in the fitness industry. You just something was pulling you there.
I tell people all the time is if I'm not working out when I parole, I'm heading back to prison.
Yeah.
Because people told me fucking left and right, dude, because I used to live, breathe, and in there I was working out every day. I was reading workout books. I mean, I've forgotten so much shit that, I mean, I would take notes. You have nothing better to do. So every muscle and fitness book I read from cover to cover. I mean, I would send them home. I would send these fucking magazines home, you know, after the year subscription. I'd send them home to my mom.
Yeah.
Like, that's how valuable they were to me. Like, I would send, when my homies were leaving, I would give them the books and, hey, take these to my mom, you know, and so she can save them for me. Like, it's kind of weird, but I valued them that much, you know. So fucking cover to cover, any nutrition book, supplement book, vitamin book, I would read it and just, that's it, you know. And people would be like, dude, why are you so into this? You're gonna get out and you're not even gonna work out anymore. And that's one of the things I told them is, if I'm not working out, I'll see you in here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I'd shut them up.
Yeah, but you knew that about yourself, and that's a huge thing, right? Is that
and I didn't have the working out when I was younger was fucking nothing to do with me. I've never caught dead at a gym, and you know, it's like, I think, you know, when you work out, you get that, you kind of get a little bit of validation, right? You get, you know, people are like, oh, and I think for us in this lifestyle and that lifestyle is we're looking for that all the time. Mm-hmm. Before social media, like, we got our validation from the streets, And that's how we got, you know, that feeling that we needed to feel like appreciated. So now we're adults. What do we do now? What do we do to, you know, to feel that still? So for me, I get that from the gym through myself. I don't need anyone, but when I feel good and I got a good pump, and that's what that feeling I need. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have that feeling.
Yeah.
Kind of worries me sometimes, you know,
well,
so.
And that's the thing is it builds your self-image, right? It starts to build from the inside out. The outside is just a side note. And interesting too, when I had my motorcycle accident, I couldn't train. That was taken from me for about 6 months, man. And it was such an awakening, like such an awakening that it could be taken from me so quickly, because it's so important. It's so important to us. So when did you lose all the weight? In prison?
Yes. No, I lost a good amount of it. I think I don't know what I weighed when I paroled, but as soon as I came out here, I ballooned up like crazy. That's when I got out here is when I got up to almost almost 400. Okay. So, because there's no control, right? McDonald's and all the other stuff. And it was just in the beer and, you know, just drinking.
The lifestyle.
You know, and I wasn't like super alcoholic or anything, but shit, I'm out now. So I just wanted to kind of live a little, you know? Yeah. And so that's kind of what happened. So I would still work out. I was still working out, still going to the gym. And I always worked out like one way or another. I never not trained, even when I was getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So I always brought myself back no matter what I was going through.
So now, when did you actually start your company?
I was at Gold's Gym for a long time. So then when I became an independent trainer, that's when I came up with the name Third Strike Athletics.
What does that mean to you?
It's another funny story, but me and there was 3 of us in prison, and we wanted to start a t-shirt company. We were going to become millionaires. We'd get together and we'd have meetings, like corporate meetings, whatever. And this was one of it was actually going to be we had a whole bunch of shirts, and we put Third Strike survivors and just a bunch of shirts. We actually had designs of shirts, and we interviewed people to ask them what shirt they liked. So that, you know, obviously we were doing, I forgot what it was. What do you do when you, you know, getting data, right? Yeah. To find out what
you're getting feedback. You're getting real world feedback.
We knew what our top shirts were going to be once we got out and became t-shirt millionaires, you know? And so that's where it came from. And I came out here, and like I said, the dude that I still know that I was busted with that's out here, he was the other guy. And that's kind of where the name came from. And that was going to be our t-shirt company. But it was like Third Strike Survivors. It had nothing to do with like training. It was just kind of based around that. Yeah,
it's like it's like what you guys knew, what your lifestyle was all about, right? Yeah. That's what that was, and to me, again, this is called Brand Builder TV. It's all about the brand, right? It's all about connecting in that real, authentic way. And again, you had that natural intuition, right? To know what works for you. Yeah. What you know, one of my favorite. Listen, man, he's all over my wall in my office. But one of my favorite American success stories, man, is Tap Out. Yeah. Three kids from San Bernardino that weren't supposed to make it, man. Yeah. You know, and they stuck to their guns. They did it in their own way, and you know, everyone laughed at Mask when he was wearing the makeup and the war paint, but he just knew, right, that's who he was, and this is my mission. This is my message, and I you know, you're not going to find a bigger fan of Charles Mask Lewis than myself.
When they had the accident, that's my birthday. It was March 11th.
Really?
So
really, I mean, wow.
So I mean, not a cool thing to connect, but I've seen their little. I watched them too, the same era, right? You know,
Yeah.
and when I seen that, I'm like, oh shit, that's my birthday. You know,
Yeah.
that's when he
Yeah.
had his car accident.
Yeah, and I mean, just unbelievable, unbelievable story. And we're working on getting Punk Ass on the show.
Oh wow.
We've been back and forth trying to figure out time frames, but I get that, man, and branding for me goes so deep, and a lot of people I don't know in business if they really understand how powerful that can be. For me, you know, I've been in the dog world for a long, long time, man, in different aspects of it. I spent 17 years in the most violent cities that this country knows, back east. And to me, the pit bull is what I believe every human being should strive to be: drive, dedication, loyalty, dead game, and heart as big as their head, man. And that, to me, that's what a good pit bull is. And so that's why it's always going to be part of my brand. So I'm a big fan of branding. I think the marketing follows that if your brand is on point, and on point means if it's real for you. So what are you doing, man, in these unprecedented times, dude, as a personal trainer, right? When we're literally shut down. How are you making it?
My wife, you know, my wife, she's definitely the number one, the head honcho right about now. So it's a team. It's tough. You know, I've never, like I said, none of us have ever been through something like this to where you're just going to be at zero, you know, and just kind of, you know, that's why I reached out to you, because this is something I've always wanted to do, but it's just not that I didn't have the time, but you don't have the, like, I don't know, I got to be into it. Like if I want to speak, or like if I'm not in it here, I can't fucking do something like this, you know? So it's tough. It's tough to just not have nothing to do, you know, just not training. I did a video on my Instagram, and I'm used to have, you know, like I said, if I don't have the gym, well, I have my clients, you know, so either one of those two variables can pull me out of however the fuck I'm feeling. And when they're both gone, it's like, now what? You know, you can't train people. So it's like, fuck, you know. But you're figuring out good outlets, right? You're figuring out what works for you. So people have to understand that, right? That's what a real successful entrepreneur does, is let's figure this the fuck out, right? Let's keep moving forward, figuring it out. And I know when I had Monster Motivator TV, I reached out to you and we couldn't connect and do a show. And then we reconnected on Instagram. And it just wasn't your time then, right? To do the show. Now it is. Too much shit going on at the time, and not business related, just personal. But and you know, that's, you know, I always, and you've seen people all the time, right? They always, well, this happened, so then I had to go this way, and that was actually ended up being a good thing for them. And I kind of hope that, I don't know, in a way, maybe this does help get me out of my fucking shell. To start doing this, because I do know 100% that I have shit inside of me that people need to hear. Like I know that, you know, and how I can get it out is what I need to work on. And I do videos all the time, and I do not like my voice. I don't like, I say and this too much. I just can't flow, you know. But you do in your own flavor, my man. Right. So don't ever let anybody tell you, flow in your own flavor. And that's what people connect with. And I always say, look, I'm not religious, but I'm a spiritual dude. And I say, let the universe do the heavy lifting. Just be yourself, man. Keep it real, raw, and live, and let the audience come to you. Now all the pressure's off, right? Because your value is who you are. Your value is where you came from, where you're at today, and where you see yourself going. That's your value. That's why I was pumped to have you on, man, because I know the realness, right? I knew enough about you from afar to know that, right? The intuition. And I also knew
that we had enough in common. We had way more in common than most people would think looking from the outside in.
Right.
We just grew up in two different parts of the world. That's it. That's the bottom line. So that's what I'm all about, man, because that's where the real value comes in. So once these doors reopen for all of us, and I think it's going to happen sooner than later, what's your game plan?
Oh man, shit. I'm gonna try to take over the world because I mean, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and if you've done the training thing, it's, you know, you get going, and then you go back, you get going, you go back, and I can't blame anybody but myself on that, because you get comfortable and it just happens so quick, you know. In anything you do, you have to be on it every single day.
Yep.
And you know, and I do that to an extent, and then I kind of fall back, and then I just can't keep moving forward, you know. And it's something I need to work on, of just staying on that right frame of mind 100% all the time, you know. So I'm gonna just stay at 100% all the time, and you know, as everybody else, right now we see what we missed about the gym, you know. So it's like, you know, I see everything that I missed, and just working, man, getting back out there, and getting back in that inspired action, man. Yeah. Is there anything that you see that you could add, that if this ever happened again or anything close to this, it wouldn't affect you financially as much? Maybe like online meal plans or things like that. I was already doing that, but I wasn't really pushing that 100%. And obviously that's something that I do want to do. I mean, who doesn't want to be an online guru? Right. And doing more stuff like this, just getting myself out. I got to get myself out there. It's been too long, and you know, I'm not getting any younger. But like I said, no one's gonna have what I have up here, and you know, I see them. Yep. There's so many people out there right now that are pushing, you know, preaching what they want to preach, but it's like, I don't think they got it, you know. Like in my realm, as far as there's a lot of ex-cons, and there's a lot of people doing that, playing that, what could you call it, that niche, right? And I just think, I know I could do it better. Well, just for normal people to understand, because I feel like if they preach it so much, they're still kind of stuck back over there. You got to have both sides, the streets and the system.
And the evolution.
Right. You got to have them both. You can't stay in one lane, and you can be a tough guy and stuff like that. That's cool, but I feel that's going to only take you so far.
Right.
You got to understand both sides of the world.
And here's the other thing that you bring to the table, right, is the definition of tough guy. Most people are going to think that ex-con, but the real tough guy is getting past that ex-con, having the courage to move forward in the darkness, stay away from the known and going into the unknown. That's courage, man. Right. Moving forward, and what you did in that process, and now what you're doing in the process, right? Because now we're all in uncharted territory, right? Yeah. We're in times that nobody's ever thought would ever happen or ever come of it, and you're figuring out how to create resources, how to make it happen. This is what people need to hear. But what I love about it is it's in Frank's flavor. That's because nobody can duplicate that, man. It's your flavor, it's who you are, and that's the goal. That's the goal. And one thing I've always learned over the years is chaos creates genius, because we figure it out, man. We weren't before this, right? You'd be at the gym, right? You'd be doing your routine. Now life is checking you and saying, guess what, Frank? Right? Our routine is now, we have a detour. What are you going to do? And we always have choices. We could sit in the fetal position and give up, or we could figure out how to go through it, go over it, or go around it. Yeah.
And I wish I had that, you know, that mentality all the time. You know, I just, you know, I don't, and I feel like I should. you know, and I've, you know, you're successful, you know, do you ever have those times where you don't want to do shit?
Oh, that happens, right? And it's
Right.
like my nickname is called the Monster Motivator. So people ask me all the time, man, you must always be motivated. You also must always be inspired. At the end of the day, what you're doing, what we're doing, I call personal development, is when I post like on social media in the mornings, it's more for me than it is anybody.
Right.
Because personal development, all personal development is, what people have to understand, is building a toolbox with more tools in it to now, when you hit that funk, to be able to get out of it quicker and healthier. That's all it is, man. That's that. So, and personal development is so many different definitions. You could go in my main bathroom right now and there's a stack of Muscle and Fitness and Flex magazines, right? My whole life has been either bodybuilding, powerlifting, boxing, pro wrestling. Like pro wrestlers, when I grew up, they were my superheroes, not Superman or Batman. It was
Right.
it was WWE superstars, right? So that's part of personal development as well. What you've done in your life and now what you're doing. To me, it's about, you get into that funk, your personal development, your level of awareness now gets you out of that quicker. And here's how I can prove that to you, Frank, is what you know now, who you are now versus 20 years ago. If you hit that same funk, which person's going to get out of that quicker in a healthier way?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. And it's stepping back and giving yourself that credit. That's the other thing, right? Is giving yourself that credit and being okay with being in that funk, but give yourself a timeline. I'll be in this funk for an hour. After that, done.
Right.
Right? That's how me and you think.
And I was just recorded a video yesterday on that. It's very true. Is you know, we all go through little things in our lives. You know, I was looking out the window, and I was remembering back when I was in juvenile hall, and I had I probably had the worst window in the fucking world because you could see outside. So when I'd have court, I see my mom leave. I'm sitting there crying, and I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to go home, you know. Fucking, I'd see, you know, the moms coming out crying, and bad fucking sell. So, you know, you would think, right? Well, after that, you'd probably change, but it doesn't really work. So, you know, every one of those little, then going to juvenile hall, then going to prison, going through experiences there, I think all those little bad experiences, at the end of the day, they do compile into, like, it helps you get through certain shit.
Yep.
It's not going to stop you from changing 100%, but maybe that little time in the cell stopped me from doing that really stupid thing. It didn't stop me completely, but it still kept me level-headed. You know, so every stupid thing that I did, if I had to go back, right, I could use those experiences then. It wouldn't fix me, but it, you know, everything. So even this, you know, I can go back to, I'm not going to go back to the cell when I was in juvenile hall. I just got to kind of go back to, oh, remember that time when I was really fucking slow? You know, so I guess everything does kind of move forward just kind of like that. So it's true.
Yeah.
You got to remember all those bad things and don't forget them, and bring them, kind of like you said, a toolbox, bring them with you. Bring all those fucking things with you. It's not going to fucking make you perfect, but the more bad shit you have in that toolbox, it's going to help you to not get too far off, you know. And that's very true. I didn't post it, but it was a 5-minute thing. But yep, I was going to post that. So
now you will, right? And now you're going to be able to help people that you might not even realize are looking for it or needing it. And here's the other thing is, we're not supposed to be perfect, right? If we were perfect, how fucking boring would that be? This journey wouldn't be worth shit if we were perfect, right? So to me, it's about the other thing that I love to share with people, because it's so true, is we hear the stories all the time, right? My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was abusive. My this, my that, my that. Here's what people have to understand, and I'm not condoning it, but everyone can only work to their own level of awareness, whatever that is, but they can build that level of awareness. And that's exactly what you've done. That's called evolution, right?
Yeah.
That's just growing as a human being. Then when you hit that funk, you step back and you reevaluate. Okay,
Yeah.
I fucking instead of that way, maybe I should go this way. Maybe I should try this. Maybe, and that's what you're doing right now by jumping on podcasts, by doing videos, by sharing your real world stuff. What are you going to be doing the same things with Third Strike? You're going to be at the same gym? Are you going to be doing all this pretty much the same stuff?
I mean, I got some. I have some plans.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of keep those.
Yeah. Once you're ready.
For now, but I will still be training. I will still be doing my. Yeah, I'm not leaving the industry.
Okay.
You know,
good.
I gotta kind of do what's best for me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
But I will be training and everything, 100%.
Well, do your thing, my brother. Is there anything that you want to share before we jump off?
I'm good, man. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, and absolutely. Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, that funk, what people have to realize, and I think you could speak to this best, is that the funk is only temporary, man. Right?
Yeah.
The darkness is only temporary as long as you keep moving forward and find that courage to go through that darkness.
And then too, you know, something I think people should just kind of what you've always had, what I've just kind of came to realizing is every bad shit you go through, just get it and put it in your pocket. Right? Just get it and put it in your pocket and just keep, like you said, keep moving forward, but put that shit in the pocket, you know, as you got to put it in your pocket and save it, because you're going to need it for when you go through more bad shit.
Yep.
You can pull that out and be like, oh, remember this?
Yep.
It wasn't as bad as this. So, you know, it's going to stop you from going too far back.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
yes.
It's like just all that shit, you know, look at it like that and just get it in there, put it in there and hold on to it, because things can always be worse. And like I said, you're going to have the more bad shit you have in your pocket, I think the better your chances of getting through this fucking unscathed. Yeah.
And that's the truth, because that's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. That card, that's real world wisdom, man. Yeah. You can't beat that with a stick. So first of all, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on, man, and reaching out. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you're able to do once these doors reopen, right? And keep me posted if there's anything I can do to help promote, you know, Open Door Policy, my brother. And anytime you want to come back on the show, Open Door Policy, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you get some value from it, which you absolutely should, jump on our YouTube, like, subscribe, share this content, and keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be rolling out some awesome clips from this episode. And Frank, I'm sure, will be doing a lot of promoting on his end as well. So anything, any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us. And man, as always, man, keep doing what you're doing, brother.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate your time, and have a good day.